Good afternoon. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. We'll look at the market with the Market Watch, stocks we're paying attention to today, and lots of national and local stories coming up your way. And I know it's a hot topic this time of year, Halloween candy. What's your favorite Halloween candy? Because I know most of you are going to say candy corn. And I like you guys. I don't want to make you mad, but candy corn's gross. If you like candy corn, I think you have an issue. But anyway, that's my bias. We got that coming up later in the show as well, because everybody's getting mad at me and turning off the channel. And that it's just candy corn. That'll be coming up later in the show. Ironically enough, candy corns dominates one section of the United States. And I'll tell you this, it's not Arizona. So that's good out there. We'll get into that, of course, now. We'll get it started with the Market Watch. We got the mortgage home reporting, home sales, etc. reports out today as well. Well, is that messing with the market? No, it's because the numbers were fairly good. We'll get into that here in just a second. But right now, everything's down today, except for, ironically, Bitcoin is the one that is up. The Dow Jones right now is down the 220 points, 46,099 as of right now. S&P 500 is down 33 points to 6626. Nasdaq's down 96 points to 22,477. That small cap index, the Russell 2K, down 22 points here today, 2438 for that small cap index. And then, as I said, Bitcoin up today about 1,600 points right now. 113,619. So moving up from that 111 range it was trading at the last couple days. We'll see if it makes another run up to that 117 area here coming up for Bitcoin as well. So basically, AI play is still in function here with NVIDIA and Oracle. We'll talk about Oracle here coming up in just a little bit. But, a lot of selling going around that AI stuff. AI buying into Intel, AI buying into basically investing and going into partnership with OpenAI. That stuff's kind of affecting the market here today, as well as Oracle with this whole TikTok deal. So everybody's kind of selling off in those ranges, and it leads to other sell-offs happening here on the market today. And stocks we're going to look at, the first one, Freeport-McMoRan. Does a lot of work here in Arizona as well. A lot of miners here. A lot of executives live out here in Arizona for this company, and they're down big today, 16.46% as of right now. They came out and they declared force majeure at its Grasban mine over in Indonesia. Basically, activity there has been halted at that mine earlier this month. A mud rush led to a fatal accident there in Indonesia. Then the company warned consolidated sales for copper and gold, which are two precious metals for this company. Obviously, they mine those a lot. They'll be lowered in the third quarter than what was previously expected. Freeport-McMoRan down today 16.47% so far here today based off of that cumulative news around their mining industry. Next up, we're going to look at a stock called Unicure. And a lot of you are going to say, what's Unicure, Steve? Why are we looking at this? Well, it's a biotech firm. Because if you go up 233 points on a day, you're going to get noticed. It doesn't take a rocket science to notice a company up this big here today. They have an experimental gene therapy for Huntington's disease, and it actually slowed the progress of the neurodegenerative disease's progress in a key clinical trial. So success here in a key clinical trial here for this company. If you're passing the key clinical trials, it means your drug's going to eventually get approved, help people out, means more sales. Unicure up 233.09% right now on the day based off of that news. Then we're going to look at another mining stock out there, Lithium Americas. I'll give you two guesses on what these guys mine, right? Lithium, of course, out there. Well, it's up huge today as well, 96.74% for Lithium Americas. Reuters came out and reported, the usual people are familiar with the matter. The Trump administration is looking to acquire a stake of up to 10% of Lithium Americas Corp. That news right there is driving the stock up 97.07% today. I know it's trading at $6. It's, $2.98 up today, with that percentage of 97% up here. With the U.S. Trump administration, 10% of this company news. We saw the same kind of thing with Intel when that news started to break out there as well. So a couple of mining stocks. Well, one mining stock doing bad, one mining stock doing well, a biotech firm with one of their disease drugs doing really well today. Well, we'll look at Oracle next time we come back here for the Market Watch and see how they're doing around this TikTok sale. How's that affecting their stock? Douglas Elliman, their luxury real estate brokerage. We'll check in with them specifically, around a bid around a company that they might be involved with. And then Coinbase we're going to look at as well coming up. Obviously, you see the Bitcoin being up today, about 1% total, as you saw in the Market Watch graph. But there's other reasons Coinbase is in the news today as well. So is it the Bitcoin going up? Or is it this other news that's having Coinbase here stock up and downs here? I guess we could say is Coinbase pretty much follows Bitcoin out there as we talk. And I told you the new home sales reporting was out as well earlier today, and this one's for basically the August month timeframe. And this one is just breaking here earlier today, but newly built homes rose a much larger than expected 20.5% in August compared with July. Huge increase, new homes sales going out there. Mortgage rates in August, they didn't start dropping huge until this month here in September. So basically mortgage rates were still at that higher level. It's it was a higher level of 6, but it was lower than that close to 7 percentage point back then as well. The median price of the new home in August was $413,500. Is what we're looking at. That's an increase of 1.9% year over year in August as well. So, so 15.4% higher than in August of 2024. For home sales, 1 month gain, the largest 1 month gain since August of 2022. The level there, the much larger than expected level as well, came in, at these huge numbers. So big surprise with mortgage rates a little bit higher at that time. I don't know, because I was trying to find out if it's going to be, because we know there's a big decline in mortgage rates here in September. It went to a 3-year low of 6.13% the day before the Federal Reserve cut that rate then. It moved a little bit higher there because right now it's at 6.37%. So my question is, were people anticipating a mortgage drop here in September? So in August, they were buying the houses, maybe going into that, but not locking in that rate here until September, right? That's kind of what we're looking at going forward. But big numbers here in the home builder side of things with that coming out. And this market is not going to be, quote unquote, in recovery mode or in good condition overall until the housing market takes off again. It is an instrument here in this market. You need the interest rates to come down. You need people that are in the current existing homes able to move without a big expense with that interest rate portion and things to that effect. So we're kind of all just wondering and watching that, those reporting as they come out here. Other news around the Federal Reserve as well. We just talked about that rate cut and what it did with the mortgage rates. Well, Federal Reserve Chairman likes to go out and say things out there, right? And he's not alone. He's not the only Fed manager saying here and signaling that a cautious approach is going to be needed for future interest rate cuts. He's not alone in that thought on the Fed board. There are some dissenters out there, but he keeps signaling this more and more. Obviously, this is in sharp contrast with other Fed officials that have come out this week and have called for a more urgent approach at cutting the rates and easing the monetary policy. Right now, there's 4 or so, I think, if I remember correctly, that want the rates cut quicker, including the one that just got on the board, the Trump administration one. The other ones are kind of following Jerome Powell's cautious approach here currently. So this all came from remarks in Providence, Rhode Island. Powell did note that there are risks to both the Fed's gains of seeking monetary employment and stable prices. Well, of course, no shocker. There's risk in everything you do, especially at that level. But with the unemployment rate rising, he went on to say the Fed agreed to cut its key rate last week. He did not signal any further cuts on the horizon. But after the meeting, they talked about two more cuts coming up, is what he talked about. Here's his exact quote. A lot of people follow these words here and everything. If basically he said if the Feds were to cut rates, and this is his quote here, too aggressively, we could leave the inflation job unfinished and need a reverse course later, unquote, and raise rates, is what he was saying. Yeah, he's right. But we've known this jobs thing was going to teeter for a little bit. So question is, I've seen reporting out there saying we should be another whole point lower right now if it would have been done properly over line. That's not coming from the Trump administration that wants that done, just independent investors out there. If the Feds do keep the rate too high for too long, though, the labor market could soften unnecessarily, is what he added in that conversation. Yeah, that's why you get paid the big bucks, sir, to figure this out and do it properly. Powell's remarks echoed the caution he expressed during a news conference last week. That was when the Fed announced the first rate cut this year when they did that. At that time, he said, quote, "It's challenging to know what to do," unquote. They're the experts, folks. We're supposed to trust them out there. So that's out there. Obviously, his words are followed by the stock market. And, they literally hang on every word that he says out there. Some tariff updates for you as well. Tell me if you've heard this before. The U.S. expects to finalize trade deals with some Southeast Asian countries within weeks. Yes. There's obviously been a big wave of efforts to negotiate for lower tariffs as the tariffs have all kicked in and continue to be out there. There's going to be meetings here this week with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Economic Ministers. It's going to happen in Kuala Lumpur, and they start actually today. The U.S. is meeting with them. It's the first high-level gathering between the regional bloc and the U.S. since the U.S. implemented those higher tariffs back in August on those countries. So while the region's exporters have seen a boon in sales ahead of the tariffs, right? Everybody pre-ordered or pre-shipped out before the tariffs went into effect. Companies front-loaded the shipments and relocated some manufacturing to the region away from China and some of those higher tariff countries. Well, obviously, that's going to reverse here, right? A lot of people have a lot of stock. We saw this in April when those tariffs first went into effect. People got in front of it. We saw lower numbers. That's where the GDP fell to a negative number and stuff like that. So those conversations are happening this week. Obviously, something to pay attention to because there's a lot. Every country in that Southeast Asian bloc there has a different thing that they want. Some of them want automotive tariffs to come down for them. Some of them want gasoline and tech stuff tariffs to come down as they manufacture phones for China and things like that. So every country has its own interest there. So it'll be interesting to see how these talks come out here this week. And then there's a Fed survey of chief financial officers that they just did. It's officially out. And this is kind of just a gauge here, right, on these chief financial officers and kind of what they think about certain things around the economy. And it's a quarterly poll, and it's a national sampling of 525 companies. It is conducted by the Atlanta and Richmond Federal Reserve Banks. We talk a lot about the Michigan Federal Reserve Bank and the New York one here on the show. Well, these guys found that optimism among CFOs, well, they improved, and uncertainty around policy actually fell in the third quarter of this year. That is consistent, obviously, with final tariff rates being implemented, and there's not that question of will there be more, will there be less, et cetera, even though we don't have a lot of, actual finality here on where we stand on tariffs, but we know they're constant as of right now. So this report came out, and the administration, is rewriting the trade rules, and it's not complete, as I said. Even the Southeastern Asian countries, we still have a few weeks left, according to the Trump administration. So there's still that court challenge pending with the Supreme Court that's coming up, I think, in November, right? Are these tariff implementations even legal for the president's doing? But here's the thing. With all of that news, CFOs in this survey, they dropped the word uncertainty from their top concerns in this report. So that's a good sign, as certainty leads to, stableness leads to certain times around stuff. Price increase expectations actually fell slightly this year, but they did rise for 2026 in terms of these CFOs. Survey respondents said that tariffs have added as much as 30% to planned price increases, and they continue to limit investment among companies most concerned about rising import costs. In this survey, is what they found out. So, just an idea of what the CFOs, right, the people in charge of the financial side of these companies, what they're thinking, how they're feeling out there. Uncertainty seems to be gone. Price increases are factored in, and other things as well still planning up. So, interesting story around the economy from CFOs' perspectives around the companies. And we've talked a little bit about OpenAI the last couple of days with that NVIDIA announcement, and of course, the big announcement when Trump became president was that thing they called, that big survey and everything that they did with OpenAI and a couple other companies out there. Well, OpenAI did come out yesterday, and they announced that that flagship AI data center in Texas. Well, they say that they're going to be 5 more of those around the U.S., is what OpenAI said, because they're trying to make good on that $500 billion infrastructure investment that was promoted by President Trump there in his early part of the administration. This project is that Stargate project, if you remember that. This is that joint venture between OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank. They said it's building 2 more data center complexes at that site in Texas, one in New Mexico, one in Ohio, and then they said they're going to do another Midwest location, but they haven't disclosed where exactly that's going to be at there. It's a boon for local economies. Like right now, 6,000 workers commute to the massive construction project each day. 1 building's open there, 4 more coming online here over the next few years. The campus and nearby expansion is actually going to provide about 1,700 jobs on site when it's fully operational, and thousands more indirect jobs to this project here. It's specifically in Texas, they say will be created down there. So Stargate starting to come online with that one business. 4 more announced there. Other states now coming on board, all based around the data center side of things there. So Stargate, kind of a big promotion there earlier, and where we stand on that. It's kind of an interesting thing on how fast that's going. Just announced in January, and it's moving that quickly out there. And interesting thing here, right? Artificial intelligence. We've reached stories, right? Salesforce released. I said they're going to lay off about 50% of their workers because of AI. How big is AI in these companies? And well, in the tech industry, well, an overwhelming majority. And it's not even a small majority. It's most people are using artificial intelligence on the job for tasks like writing and modifying code. This all comes from a Google study out there. And basically, it's computers going to take your job at some point, right? The report coming from Google's Dora Research Division. It's based on 5,000 responses from technology professionals from around the world. 90% of respondents are using AI on the job. Well, that's a lot of people, Steve. What was it last year? It had to have been high last year. No, 14% last year was using AI on the job. At least that's what they reported they were doing at that time. Big jump here in the AI side of being used. And this is in the tech industry, right, for coding, etc. The findings come as the rise of AI has prompted a mix of concerns, right? Obviously, hype and promise around how the technology could impact jobs and the economy overall is a big concern here, and with people using it. But just because coders use AI, it doesn't necessarily mean they're all finding value in it. 46%. I know people, before I get into the statistics, I know people that just use AI to answer a simple question. Like no more going to Google and typing in. They just go to ChatGPT and type the question in, right? To get. I actually had to use it at a high school game last Friday. Tricky rule here on a kickoff. Didn't understand it. Literally went to Gronk actually on that one on Twitter, and it just came right up, and the answer came there. So people can be using it for that side as well, but 46% of the tech professionals who participated in the survey, they said they somewhat trust the quality of AI-generated code. 23% said they only trust it a little. 20% said they do trust it a lot. 31% said AI, quote, slightly improved their code quality. 30% said it had no impact on their quality. I know when I do images, I do an AI that for imaging and stuff like that. It's not you got to double check everything, because they'll sneak something stupid in there that you don't want in there, is ridiculous and things like that. So even if you're using it for code, you still got to double check it and understand from that side. The adoption of AI tools comes at a challenging time for entry-level tech workers. The unemployment rate for recent computer science and even computer engineering graduates Graduates, well, it's higher than that of fields like art history and English, folks. These were hot industries to go into as computer in the college to study and write and everything. And now the unemployment side of it, based around AI, is doing it, plus the layoffs that are happening. And that's all according to the New York Fed, by the way. So a reputable place coming out with those numbers. The job listings for software engineering roles, actually on the Indeed, site, job site, it fell by 71% between February 2022 and August of 25. The listings fell from 71% there. So those are industries obviously being affected by AI. And there was a time where, remember when that whole thing was going on, they were like, learn to code when they were shutting down coal plants and things like that. Apparently that wasn't the right thing to go into based off of these numbers. So I got young kids, of course, that are trying to figure out what they want to do in college, and a lot of computer interest by my teenage son. And got to be careful here going forward if you want to get into that stuff, because will there be jobs in it coming up is the biggest question. And we know what happens, right? Price increases happen out there. They're just really annoying when they happen on things where everybody sold cable, got rid of cable in order to move on to streaming services, and well, Disney is basically telling us all out there. They're alerting subscribers. I saw this on my app the other day. The price of select Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN streaming plans and bundles, well, they're going to increase next month, folks. Get ready for this. October 21st is the date. The company will increase the monthly price of its Disney Plus plans with ads by $2. It's going to go to $11.99 per month. The no ads Disney Plus premium plan will increase by $3 to $18.99 per month. But then the company is also boosting the price of some of its bundle options, which are really popular, right? The ad-supported bundle of Disney Plus and Hulu, it's going to go up to $12.99, $2 basically a month. It's at $10.99 right now. The Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Select Bundle Premium, will that include ad-free Disney Plus and Hulu with ad-supported ESPN Plus? It's going to increase to $29.99. Well, was it $26.99 currently right now? So it's going to go up to those prices. Disney is part of the, price increases are part of everybody's, standard regular business practice and processes. But it comes obviously shortly after Disney launched that ESPN direct-to-consumer streaming service in August. I had to get that over the weekend to watch WrestlePalooza with my 17-year-old. Because you don't have a way to watch it through cable. DirecTV and a couple others, the Cox wasn't part of that yet. So we had to pay for that, and it's not cheap out there. Obviously, they're trying to boost subscriber bases, make more money on that side, get people out of cable, and it's just darn annoying. But they are coming, folks, so get ready for that. Speaking of ESPN, right, the National Football League. News is coming out today. They could begin renegotiating those media rights deals as soon as 2026. The current deal is supposed to go through 2033, 4 years ahead, and 2026 will be of the current negotiation opt-out clauses coming out here. CNBC was reporting this earlier today. The league needs agreement from its current media partners at Disney, Comcast, NBC Universal, Paramount, Amazon, and Fox. They need a basically agreement from them to start discussions on any new deal. Well, it does slide an this is all from an exclusive interview from NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Why would companies agree to renegotiate the package early when they have deals in there? You're not going to tell the NFL no. Because if you tell them no, they'll live with it and you won't get an opportunity in the future, right? Because for broadcasters, the accelerated NFL TV rights negotiations mean they're going to face higher costs, right? It's going to cost more expensive to get these companies and what you want from the NFL. And then you get greater pressure to justify the investment to their shareholders and everybody else. Securing rights, though, does ensure they remain central to one of the few live events that still draws massive audiences and ad dollars. That's the NFL's strength as they dominate the ads ratings and live viewers. Because sports in general is one of the few genres consistently doing live, simultaneous viewers on broadcast. It's highly attractive to advertisers seeking scale during marquee events, NFL, NBA games specifically, and what they're looking at. Here's the stats for you here, right? The NFL signed this long-term media rights deal in 2021. It was a combined deal reportedly valued at more than $100 billion for everybody. Then they added YouTube after the deal was put in, right, for that Friday night game. Beginning with the 2023 season is when it started, and it runs through 2033 as of right now. They can reopen it with some opt-out clauses next year. The NFL could take this opportunity to renew deals or even add new partners, such as YouTube, which, like I said, they just did that first game there on Friday night. Add more Netflix games out there as well as Netflix comes onto that. If you remember, YouTube signed that $14 billion NFL streaming deal in 2022. Netflix broadcasted its first live NFL games on Christmas of last year. Big money here coming into the NFL, and they're going to take advantage of it because among the top 100 broadcasts in the U.S. last year, 2024, 70 of the top 100 were NFL games. That is how strong the NFL is and why they want to keep upping that money available to them at every out clause, right? The media, obviously the league's media presence receives a massive boost from Amazon and Netflix. Those additional ratings from the streamers, as they have Thursday Night Football on Amazon, Netflix, of course, coming on board. So that could be coming here. Some more negotiations, which, folks, means more price increases on the streaming services coming our way is what we need to look at on that side and everything. So it's just interesting times. So when we come back here at McCollum on Business, we will keep it rolling. We're going to talk about the resort that's never going to open, folks. I am convinced it's never going to open. We're going to talk about that Vi Resort out there in Glendale. Just keep pushing it back. It's never going to come to fruition. Talk about that. Candy corn, candy in general. We're going to talk about that coming up as well. So come on back, folks. It's McCollum on Business. And we're back here, McCollum on Business, Wednesday edition. If you missed the main event earlier today, Scottsdale Christian Academy head coach has a big game. The schedule there for that team gets a little bit harder. We had him on at 9 o'clock here this morning. That is up on demand right now, Robat TV, the YouTube page, the free YouTube page out there. And then, of course, we'll get it out to social medias here in a little bit. And then, of course, free podcast system for that show as well. So if you're interested in that at all, it's there. Of course, Bruce Cooper yesterday, that's up as well in the interview section, as well as the regular show yesterday on the free YouTube page, Robat TV on demand. And then, of course, the free podcast system as well. This show live at 11 o'clock. We put it up on the free YouTube page as well, on demand at Robat TV. After we're done with the live here, check that out. Share it with your friends as well. Just a little passion project of mine, business and things. And it'll be interesting to see how we change the show here coming up. A little preview for you on some plans that hopefully will come true for this program. And that's up there as well. Of course, you've got the pit stop as well. Today we will have here around 2 o'clock, we'll have the Look Ahead show up here at Robat TV, of course, on the free YouTube page. Free podcast system as well. Podbean's the only place you can find that podcast right now. At the Pit Stop Talk is where you find it on Podbean, as well as on the social medias there as well. We look ahead to Kansas here this weekend. We'll have that up later on today. And folks, it's a great time to be around here. We appreciate your support. So much other programming here at Robat TV as well. For those of you that have found, whether the morning show or the sports over there at Park University, we appreciate you joining us here. And with all that being said, let's get right back into that Market Watch. Second day dip here for stocks. Investors are selling off. The AI, stuff with NVIDIA is causing a sell-off. Oracle, we'll look at their stock here coming up. But how is this TikTok deal affecting their stock? We'll talk a little bit about that and stocks we're paying attention to. But right now, Dow Jones down 165 points. S&P 500 down 25. The Nasdaq's down 113 points. And then you got the small cap index, right? Russell 2K down 19 points. I wonder how much of this, because the sell-off yesterday started when the Fed chairman kind of came out and said stocks are overvalued right now. And then today he said he wants to slow roll easing of the monetary policy, lowering those interest rates. People are selling off, right? And that includes the Russell 2K. They're 18 points down right now. Bitcoin, the only one kind of up today, up to 113,742 for Bitcoin in that cryptocurrency. As a whole, when we look at Bitcoin, there's a lot of cryptocurrencies out there. We look at Bitcoin specifically just because it's kind of the leader in what everybody, kind of controls everything else out there. One thing we will look at here in our stocks to watch is Coinbase as well. So, let's get into it. Oracle's the first stock we're going to look at, right? Well, they're a database company stock. We know they've been rumored to be in. We don't know the extent. Yesterday, I told you a little bit more of it. They're going to be in charge of the algorithm and the software side of it for protection and things like that. Well, they're down 2.97% right now. This stock was down over 5% earlier today. Reuters came out and they reported a Wall Street watchdog is investigating alleged. I apologize, wrong story. It helps if I read my screen that I type up properly. They're down 2.96% right now. They were down 4% earlier today. I have my stocks backwards, folks, so I apologize. But there's uncertainty over to the extent to which Oracle will exercise control over TikTok's algorithm as part of this deal of them to purchase the social media platform, along with Silverleaf and Michael Dell and the Murdoch family, etc., Fox Corp, right, and stuff like that. So uncertainty is negative here on the stock market, and that uncertainty over TikTok has them down 2.97% here today. And, we're getting more and more details sneaking out, but then the Chinese companies, right, ByteDance and the China needs to sign off on the deal. Still a lot of uncertainty around TikTok and Oracle's role in that. Douglas Elliman is going to be our next stock we're going to look at. They're a luxury real estate brokerage company. They're on 3.85% here today. Like I said earlier today, this is the one that was down over 5% earlier today. Well, Reuters reported here, Wall Street watchdog is investigating alleged insider trading activity linked to a failed bid to take over the firm. Insider trading, folks. The probe is still in its early stages, according to that Reuters report. Something investors don't like to hear is insider trading, down 3.85% out of that Reuters report here today for that luxury real estate brokerage company out there. And then finally, Coinbase is what we're going to look at here. Follows cryptocurrency Bitcoin pricing pretty well. Bitcoin drops a lot. Coinbase generally drops a lot. A couple others goes up. It kind of goes up a little bit, and it's up 1.03% today. So is it the fact that Bitcoin's also up about 1% today? Or could it be with that Coinbase launched the X402 Foundation? That's in collaboration with Cloudflare. It's going to establish a universal standard for AI-driven payments for Coinbase. Coinbase is one of those stock trading companies that made their name, right, with being able to trade cryptocurrencies specifically and those items. So this new 402 Foundation in collaboration with Cloudflare, that might be another reason why they are up 1.03% here today for Coinbase. And now we have to get into the local stories out there. And like I said, I just have a theory. I'm not going to go so far as to say that this is just a money laundering scheme, right, over there in Glendale. But I'm not sure this resort's ever going to open. They keep going back to the voters to vote for more stuff to be built, etc. They keep being delayed. We drove by there, right, to go to the Cardinals game last weekend, and we hadn't been out there since the Rattlers game has ended when I worked that and covered them this year. Nothing, it doesn't look like much has changed. Roller coaster tracks are still on the ground and things to that effect. And it's a $1.2 billion as of right now, Vive Resort. This is what we're talking about, right there by Cardinal Stadium off the 101. It was originally set to open in 2023. Hey, what year is it, folks? Oh, it's 2025. Yeah, they delayed it to the end of 2025 is when they're going to open. Well, it's nowhere close to being open, I can tell you that right now. And I actually openly thought it on Sunday, but now its website has removed any mention of an opening date. They're not even pushing it back. They're just saying, Vive's frequently asked questions page, well, it now says, quote, "We are not ready to provide a specific opening date," unquote. Adding that it will wait until it can offer a proper guest experience. All right. Meaning you'll be able to open? Your stuff will be done? That would be a pretty good guest experience at that point. The page continues saying that the specific opening date would be announced 9 to 12 months before opening. This is the scary part. If that's the true part, 9 to 12 months before they open, they don't want to give you a date today. It's not opening in 2026 either, folks. We're looking at a 2027 opening date at the earliest for this resort coming up, probably. Another FAQ entry says the Vive Resort will begin mass hiring employees up to 6 months before opening, and they ask for her potential employees to monitor the careers page. Yeah, hold your breath, too, while you're at it. The page lists no jobs available as of this moment. Back in May, if you remember, this is the problem with it. Back in May of this year, it's already delayed a year and a half. Glendale voters split on 2 key ballot measures related to the resort. Those are those Proposition 401 and 402 we talked a lot about here. They focus on the 10 acres of the property being built near State Farm Stadium. Prop 401 would have allowed for the construction of office buildings and parking garages as part of the project. Voters rejected that ballot measure. They did go through with Prop 402, though, and approved that. That proposition changed the zoning rules to allow commercial development on the land out there. Can we do a proposition where Glendale voters can vote that they just opened the hotel? Can we start with that? In 2024, the Glendale City Council unanimously approved rezoning the piece of land just southeast of the resort for office space and parking. The developer already started building the offices, but the rejection of Prop 401 may force developers to redesign or resubmit plans in that area. So, how about, I got an idea. Finish up the hotel portion of it, do the office buildings and stuff later. Let's start making money here so it doesn't look like a multi-year permanent construction site. The resort is set to be the largest in the state. Got to open first. It's going to have 1,100 rooms, if it ever opens, in 4 hotel towers. The amphitheater concert venue, again, got to finish constructing it to open. The Mattel Adventure Park, same issue, as well, and several restaurants. It's located, of course, right there off the 101, 95th Avenue, right there across from Cardinal Stadium. You can't miss the giant construction site. They should change the name to, will we open? Will we not open? The Vive Resort out there in Glendale. I get there's delays in construction. I was in the construction industry, so I get it and things to that effect. But they keep adding more and more to this project, and they obviously can't handle what they got now. Good luck, Glendale. Good luck. That's all I can say. Hey, the National Hockey League. Speaking of problems here in the Valley, right, over the years with bad ownership and things to that effect, this week is marking the official launch of a new effort to bring the National Hockey League back to the Phoenix area. Yes, this is, that's the whole idea when the Coyotes left and went to Utah was, can we get them back? How soon can we get them back? We need an owner that can afford them. We need an owner that can get a stadium built, etc. Because we all know the NHL quit on Arizona after 30 years because the Coyotes weren't able to secure a permanent home venue after the team was evicted from the Glendale Arena. That was built specifically for hockey. Maricopa County Board of Supervisors Chairman Thomas Galvin wants to identify potential owners for another team and find an arena location so one can be built. Galvin has put together an informal advisory committee led by Andrea Doan. If you don't know who she is, she does a lot of stuff here in the Valley and very well known. But for you hockey fans or Settle fans out there, she is the wife of Shane Doan, the obviously very dialed into hockey Shane Doan out there. And she's going to be the face here of the Coyotes franchise and bringing him back. There's supposed to be a press conference on Thursday with her and a couple other members of this committee, so we'll see what that says coming up. But there's at least some stuff being put together here to identify the stuff that we need. And I can tell you this: if you get an arena site, you get an arena built, you get an owner that the NHL approves that can afford it, not somebody that can't afford it. The NHL will be back here as soon as that stuff is done and ready to go. They will announce an expansion team here. Guarantee it. Just got to get to that point, right? Hey, speaking of other things around the Valley, the Coyotes played at Mullet Arena there at ASU. Well, ASU, again, has been ranked at number 1 in innovation. I don't know if that transition was any good, but that's all I want to tell you. Number 1 again in innovation. It's the 11th year in a row for the 2026 Best Colleges rankings by U.S. News and World Report. ASU thinks very highly of being number 1 in the innovation category. They advertise like crazy off of it and everything. And they've been first place on this award every year since the Most Innovative Schools category was created by that U.S. News and World Report magazine. And it's ranked ahead of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. That would be MIT, for those of you that don't know. And even Stanford is number in that list, too. They've been ranked ahead of both of those universities. It's based on a survey of college presidents, provosts, and admissions deans, asking them to name the institutions they think are making the most innovative improvements in curriculum, faculty, students, campus life, technology, and faculties, or facilities, I should say, if I can learn to read. Hey, don't forget, I'm an ASU grad. The latest rankings also placed ASU at number 3 among national public universities for first-year student experience. That was tied with Texas A&M. It was ahead of the University of Michigan, Purdue University, even the University of Wisconsin. In the category of learning communities, that's cohort-based learning. ASU was tied for number 8 with Virginia Tech and Florida State University in that one. In an area important for career building, ASU ranked 5th among public universities for co-ops and internships. For that, so ASU continuing that innovation number 1 ranking. Of course, they put out a press release. I got that in my email the other day as well. So that's continuing to happen. And now let's get into some controversial stuff this time of year, right? We're getting into a spring season. Summer's officially over, and it's Halloween season out there. What candies are state's favorites? What's your favorite candy? Hit me up. SMAC500 on X. Of course, Facebook as well. Hit me up. Let me know what your favorite candy is. I just tell you right now, I can't stand candy corn. The smell of candy corn makes me want to just strangle somebody. Let's see where it is, right? And now, how did we get this study? Well, it's analyzing its grocery orders that included candy in 2024. We're talking about Instacart here. They found each state's Halloween candy preferences. In the top of the list, taking the title of America's favorite Halloween candy, yes, one of good ones here. I don't eat them very often. I'm not a big candy guy, but they are good. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, number 1. Peanut M&Ms and Kit Kats are close follow-ups. I recently have gotten back into Kit Kats. One day I picked them up at a Quick Trip and get them every once in a while now. It's just so good. Yes, I've always been a peanut M&M fan. Sour Patch Kids, by the way, Milky Way, and the Goldie Bears from Haribo. Gold Bears, they also make the list coming up. Milky Ways, I've never gotten into, folks. Do you guys like Milky Ways? Though Reese's Peanut Butter Cups takes home the national title of most favorite candy, each state obviously has its own candy choices. Candy corn, yeah, it appeared to dominate more throughout the Midwest than the South. I'm not going to lie to you, it explains a lot about the Midwest and the South. Sour Patch Kids were the most popular in the Northeast from that side. As you see on your screen there, you got the listings and everything of the map that we're looking at. So according to Instacart's Sweet Tooth study, Utah claimed the crown for the most candy purchased in October 2024. Utah Instacart shoppers brought about 50.7% more often candy than the national average. Wyoming, Oregon, Idaho, Nebraska, they also had high candy sales at those times. On the low end of the scale, Hawaii, Florida, and California had the lowest amount of candy sales through Instacart in October of 2024. The classic Halloween, symbol, candy corn, it always divides everybody. Even in my own home, it divides everything. My daughter loves candy corn. Autumn loves candy corn. That's just the smell of it. Mississippi shoppers couldn't get enough candy corn last year. They bought a whopping 92% more than the sweet treat than any other national average. I rail on Mississippi a lot on the TME show and make fun of it. This explains so much. They buy 92% more of candy corn. Sweet, sweet candy corn than the national average. 92%, folks. Nebraska, by the way, ain't too far behind. 91% for Nebraska. They buy that much more than the national average of people buying candy corn. Hawaii shoppers, though, they're not as much fun in Hawaii. They ordered the least amount of candy corn, 55% less than the national average, according to that Instacart study. They don't like candy at all or in general there. So the number one candy in Arizona, I can get behind this. I have to be careful around the favorite candy here in Arizona because I will not stop eating it if you give it to me. And it's Tootsie Rolls. Tootsie Rolls is the number one candy for Arizona. I can get behind that every day of the week. What's your favorite candy? Reach out and let me know. Hit us up. Comment on YouTube. Comment on X, SMAC500 as well. Follow me on there. Let me know what your favorite candy is that you get here in Arizona. I know we have California. I know we have Texas viewers and many Illinois watchers. I just totally diminished them. I apologize for that. What's your guys' favorite candies that you buy? I know the Chicago one probably. Being out there, and I don't like it either. But now I'm hungry. I want some candy. Come on back tomorrow, folks. Thursday edition of McCollum on Business will be around 11 o'clock. Uncle Lou joins me on the main event with, of course, Dale Hellestrate tomorrow as well. It'll be a fun day here talking UFC, NFL action. It gives us the gambling perspective from that side of things, but it does help you pick games and look at games differently. If you just want to talk to around around the water cooler at work or talk to your friends a little bit more intelligently about sports. It's an interesting conversation. Join us for that tomorrow as well. Pit Stop will be up, of course, later on here today. Around 2 o'clock, it'll be posted on Robat TV and on YouTube and on the free podcast as well. Come and join us, folks. We'll see you tomorrow here on McCollum on Business.